In a kingdom long ago, a queen sat by a window, sewing as snowflakes fell softly outside. She accidentally pricked her finger, and 3 drops of blood fell onto the ebony window frame. The queen wished for a child with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. Soon after, her wish came true, and she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. The queen named her precious daughter Snow White, for she perfectly matched the wish. Tragically, the good queen died shortly after Snow White's birth, leaving the king and his infant daughter. The king, in time, remarried a woman of great beauty, but also of immense vanity. This new queen possessed a magical speaking mirror, which she consulted daily. Every morning, she would stand before it and ask, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" For many years, the mirror faithfully replied, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." Snow White grew into a lovely young woman, her beauty blossoming with each passing year. One day, the mirror's answer changed, declaring, "Snow White, my queen, is the fairest of them all." The queen's heart filled with bitter envy and a furious rage at this pronouncement. She summoned a loyal huntsman and commanded him to take Snow White deep into the forest. Her cruel order was to kill the innocent princess and bring back her heart as proof. The huntsman led Snow White into the silent, shadowed woods, his heart heavy with conflict. When the moment came, he found he could not bring himself to harm the gentle girl. Instead, he tearfully urged Snow White to run away, to hide deep within the forest and never return. To deceive the queen, the huntsman killed a young wild boar and took its heart. He presented the animal's heart to the wicked queen, who believed Snow White was gone forever. Meanwhile, Snow White wandered, lost and alone, among the towering ancient trees. As night fell, she stumbled upon a charming tiny cottage nestled in a clearing. Inside, everything was miniature and perfectly tidy. 7 small plates, 7 little mugs. Upstairs, she found 7 tiny beds, each neatly made, inviting her to rest. Exhausted, Snow White lay down on one of the beds and drifted into a deep sleep. At dusk, the cottage's owners returned home, 7 dwarfs back from their day's work in the mine. They were astonished to find a beautiful maiden sleeping peacefully in their home. Snow White awoke and with trembling voice recounted her sad story to the kind dwarfs. Moved by her plight, the dwarfs offered her shelter and protection in their cozy home. They set one crucial rule for her safety. She must never, under any circumstances, open the door to strangers. Back at the castle, and consulted her mirror, expecting to hear she was the fairest. To her horror, the mirror revealed that Snow White was still alive, living with the 7 dwarfs. Enraged by the huntsman's failure, the queen devised a new, more sinister plan. She disguised herself as an old peddler woman, her face wrinkled and her clothes tattered. The queen approached the dwarf's cottage and called out, offering fine wares for sale. Snow White, forgetting the dwarf's warning, opened the door, curious about the peddler's goods. The queen offered her a beautiful, tightly laced bodice, insisting Snow White try it on. She laced it so tightly that Snow White could not breathe and fell to the floor, unconscious. The dwarfs returned just in time, quickly cutting the laces and reviving Snow White. Undeterred, the queen tried again, this time disguised as a different old woman. She offered Snow White a magnificent comb, secretly poisoned, and convinced her to try it. As the comb touched Snow White's hair, the poison took effect, and she collapsed once more. Again, the dwarfs arrived, discovered the comb, pulled it out, and saved their dear friend. Furious at her repeated failures, the queen prepared her most deadly trap, a poisoned apple. One side of the apple was bright red and tempting, the other side a harmless pale white. Disguised as a farmer's wife, she offered the apple to Snow White, who was hesitant. To prove it was safe, the queen bit into the pale, unpoisoned side of the fruit. Convinced, Snow White took a bite from the beautiful red side and instantly fell, as if dead. The dwarfs returned to find Snow White lifeless, their hearts broken with grief. They could not bear to bury her, for she still looked as beautiful and alive as ever. Instead, they built a magnificent glass coffin, placing her gently inside. They carried the coffin to a peaceful hill in the forest, keeping a sorrowful vigil. One day, a handsome prince rode by and saw the maiden in the glass coffin. Captivated by her beauty, he asked the dwarfs if he could take the coffin with honor to his castle. As the prince's men lifted the coffin, they stumbled over a root on the uneven path. The sudden jolt dislodged the piece of poisoned apple from Snow White's throat. With a gasp, Snow White's eyes fluttered open, and she sat up alive once more. The prince, overjoyed, immediately asked for her hand in marriage, and she happily agreed. The dwarfs were welcomed as honored family at the royal wedding, celebrating Snow White's return. Snow White and the prince ruled their kingdom wisely and lived happily ever after, always remembering the kindness of the dwarfs.